So your first step is going to be to boil your vegetables. So I usually just toss in all of my tomatoes once the water starts heating up. It doesn't have to be boiling, just kind of a light simmer. And so for this recipe, I'm using 6 tomatoes. And then I'm also going to toss in the peppers that I'm going to use. So I'm going to use 2 jalapenos, and I think it's about 5 serrano peppers. So while that's boiling, you're going to first add your lime juice, and I just used this entire bottle. You add that first so that everything else will blend easier. Next, add all of your garlic, and this was about 5 cloves of garlic that I split in half and into smaller pieces. Then after that, go ahead and add some onion. So we're using a whole medium onion here, and you're just going to go ahead and blend that a little bit at a time so that you don't overwhelm your blender. So once you have all of your onion blended, go check on your vegetables, and you want to start adding tomatoes when the skin starts slipping. So then you're going to just cut it down a little bit so that it fits, so that it blends easier. And then go ahead and toss it in your blender. As the other tomatoes that are cooking get to this point, you're just going to keep adding them into your mixture. And you can add more than one at a time because at this point you've got enough liquid in there that it shouldn't have too much of a problem blending. Alright, so those are my last tomatoes that I added. Next I'm going to go ahead and add the peppers. First I'm going to start with the 2 jalapenos, and you can see I'm handling it. They were hot because they came out of that water, so just be careful when you're doing this. Maybe don't just grab the super hot peppers. But go ahead and add your jalapenos and blend them in, just like you did with the tomatoes, and I'm just making sure to cut off the stem portion on the top. I'm leaving the seeds and everything else inside. And you want to make sure as you're making the salsa to taste test along the way. I added some salt here, but you just want to test for spiciness and for salt. And so I'm going to go ahead and add 2 serrano peppers right now. So not every serrano pepper is going to be the same amount of spicy. So you just want to keep testing and tasting as you're adding the peppers to make sure you don't add too much. You can always add more, but just be careful about not adding too much at one time. Alright, so now we're here. If you want it more or less chunky, just blend it more or less depending on your preference. And you could stop here if you are a cilantro hater, but I love it, so I'm going to go ahead and add it now. So first I'm going to cut down the cilantro and so that it's not quite as big pieces so that I don't clog the blender. So you can also use the whole stem. You can use the whole thing. Don't leave those stems off. They have a lot of the same flavor. I'm going to add half of it at one time, blend that. And then after that, I'm going to go ahead and add the rest of it. Just be careful again, stir up from the bottom, make sure that it's not getting caught around the blades or anything like that. Alright, so after adding all of that, this is where I'm at. I went ahead and tasted it again, just to make sure that I had enough salt and everything. And so after one final blend, I was here. And what I like to do is I like to save old pasta jars and use that to hold the salsa and other stuff that I make. And you're going to see me kind of skip to the jar being full because I struggle to pour it in the jar. So after this, you can just close it up, put it in the fridge, and it lasts a pretty long time. And this makes a decent amount of salsa, so the rest I'm just going to go ahead and put in this random Tupperware, just so you can see that it does make a lot of salsa. This salsa is really good, I really like it, and I hope you try it.